Is exclusive matchmaking explained? Playable villains are coming, more vanguards and strategists, rivals assembled. All right. All right, you guys said it's really good, and apparently talks about potential matchmaking in the future. All right, I'm down to watch it. Why not? Exclusive interview with Guang Guang.
Can you bring us back to the very beginning of Marvel Rivals? How NetEase ended up making Marvel Rivals, and what your first conversations with the Marvel team were like?
I have to say it really quick. They look like I mean, they literally are, but they look like the NBA mics, if you know what I mean.
这确实是比较早之前的一个事情。
Actually goes back quite a while. Okay, you guys read the captions.
对话应该是我们去
I'll read them to you. Hang on, who am I kidding? I'll read you the captions.
The Marvel team.
I'll pause and I'll read them to you. This actually goes back, or sorry, well, this actually goes back quite a while.
确实是比较早之前的一个事情。那我们其实最
In the very
早的
beginning,
时候，最早的对
our very first discussions were actually about how we should go about creating
话应
Marvel
该是我
Rivals.
们去讨论如何去做 Marvel Rivals 这个游戏，就是我们
With
在
the Marvel Rival
漫
IP
威
license in
授权的
hand,
情况下，我们要做一款
we
什
asked
么样的
ourselves
游戏？
what kind of game we wanted to make.
那很高
We
兴
were，very excited at the
我们
time.
其实当时
and we
提议有
there was
很
lots of
多嘛那我们
proposals.
其实
We
在
bounced
我们的一些
we bounced around quite a few
想
ideas,
法中提出的想法中去碰撞。那最后的话，我
and in
们
the
其
end,
实
we saw
看到了 Marvel Rivals
the
目前
prototype
的这么一
proposal for we
个
have
原型的
the prototype proposal for what Marvel Rivals is
一个提案的
today.
时候，大家都感
Everyone
受
felt
非常
truly
的兴
excited.
奋。对，那我们
Yeah,
就
so we
决定
decided to keep
沿着
going
这条
down
路
that
继续
path.
做下去。
How did you approach the design process?
So, I mean, like, there's no way they actually openly say it, right? But like, there's definitely a lot of inspiration taken from Overwatch, right? Like, there are so many things in this game that I go, huh, that's an Overwatch thing. Or specifically, not even just Overwatch, you could even go back to as far as TF2 on some things.
Process of
But-
Marvel Rivals as you were entering a market with a very dominant other game
Or
that
Garden
was a
Warfare,
similar
true.
game. 我们其实在做
Sorry, I should have listened to the question better.
Design process of Marvel Rivals as you were entering a market with a very dominant other game that was a similar game.
我们其实在做
We're making Marvel
因为在做游
Rivals,
戏比如说在
especially
做
when
英雄
creating the
的时候
heroes.
我们更多的
We were really focused
我
on
们如何把
how to bring the
漫威的作
abilities of Marvel's superheroes into the game. You know what's actually funny? Small thing from outside. I noticed that they all stopped talking about Overwatch on the broadcast, even though before they had no problem talking about it. And I wonder if they got told to stop doing it. And because even in this interview, they call it the other game, which is very funny because, you know, everyone, Overwatch actually went the opposite route, and they're like talking to the public about stuff. They just go, yeah, we've seen it from Rivals. Like,
英雄 Marvel Superheroes
It's funny.
的能力去带到
how to bring the abilities of Marvel superheroes
其
into the
中
game
让我们广大玩家
so that the
去
players
体验
could
到超级
truly
英雄的一
experience
个
the joy of embodying a
设计的一
superhero.
个快乐。对，所以我们
So in our
的
design process,
在我们设计的时候，我们会更多的
we always started from the unique
超级
traits
英
and
雄本身
characteristics
的
of
一
each
些
superhero.
特性和特质出发，然后我们会去设计
From there, we designed the
英雄的
hero's
一
skill
个技能
sets
组合。那我们之后
and then
呢
moved
会在
onto
我
a
们的
white box stage. What
我
does
们
that
会去
mean?
进行一个白盒，就一个
Essentially a prototype test.
那在往后我们
Then
才会去进
I'm going to say. Then we proceeded with art support and production.
美术资源和的一个生产。那最后我们会把它
Finally, we
整合起
integrated
来
everything
再进行一
together
个非常细
and
致
went
的
through a
打磨
very
才到
detailed
大家
polishing
看到的
phase before arriving at the version of the game that players see
上
today.
线的一个情况。
Why has the team switched to a more frequent hero release schedule? And is that monthly pace hard to keep up with?
我们去
It's weird. They're not allowed to say stuff like kill on broadcast. Did they not say kill?
选择这么一个节奏呢，更多我们是看到了
We chose this release pace mainly because we saw how much
大家
players
对
love
我
our
们超级英
superheroes.
雄的一个喜爱。大家喜欢
People
我们的
enjoy our
英雄那也
heroes,
当我们
and
新的
whenever
英
we
雄推
release
出
a
的时候
new
玩家
one,
其实非常
players
兴
get
奋，然后他
incredibly
们
excited. When they try out the new heroes, they
体验
really
我
feel
们
that
的一
sense
个
of
英雄的
joy.
时候，也会感受到非常的一个快乐。那我们，所以我们
So we,
在
around March this
今
year,
年的大概3月份，就是大概在
towards the end of the SE
末期的时候，我们
phase,
其实在
we
内
had
部讨论
internal
去做了这么一个
discussions and made
决
the
定，
final
我们希望把
decision
更多的
that we
超
wanted
级
to bring
英雄
even
带
more
给大
Marvel
家，所以我们
superheroes to our
选择了
players.
这么
That's why we decided on the pace of
一个
releasing
月
one hero
释
every
放一个
month.
英雄的一个节奏。那确实
Of
几乎
course,
每个月
releasing a
去
hero every
释
month
放一
does
个
come with certain challenges. It's definitely a
英雄的
lot
话，
of
它确实
pressure on
是
our team, for sure.
有一定困难的，就对我们团队的一个压力也是不小的。但是有压力才有
But that
动力，因为玩
pressure
家的
also
喜欢嘛，
motivates
那
us
我们才会
because that pressure also motivates us because
才有
players
动力，因为
love
玩家
it.
的喜欢嘛，那我们才会去
We work hard to make this
会努
vision
力地
happen.
去达成这个愿景。而且当
And
然
of
我们确
course,
实也是
we only
整
made
体
this decision after carefully reviewing the
地盘
possibilities.
点过我们的可能性以后才做出这么一个决定，所以目前来看的
So
话，
far,
它还是在我们的一
things are
个
going
预
according
期
to our
内。
expectations.
Can you walk us through?
Okay, so really quick on that. That's actually very interesting because, I mean, part of me always wants to read between the lines, right? Like, Rivals was the biggest game in the world for a little bit, and obviously it fell off quite a bit from what it was. Not saying it fell off entirely, but like it is a statistical fact that it went from having like somewhere between 400 to 600,000 players a day to 100,000 players, which is still really good, but they also don't have nearly the China market and Asia market that other games also have, right? That being said, okay, it doesn't. I know it's popular, chat. I'm not saying it's not. You're not listening. Let me finish, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is that they understood that the reason why it was starting to fall behind is it just didn't have people's attention. And the only way you keep people's attention in today's market is by constantly having new things to talk about, new things to show off, right? Like the seasons just took too long, you know? Because the seasons were taking too long to release new content, they pick up the pace, and the number one number one driver of new players or excitement for players is a new hero release. Doesn't matter anything else. Like, it doesn't matter if there's in-game events or new skins or whatever. It's always a hero release, and I know that for a fact because I actually spoke with some former Overwatch execs years ago. Many years ago, and basically like they were even talking back then, they were like, we've always tried to find a way to replicate the hype that new heroes always brought, and we can never do it. Like, no matter what happened, like Overwatch League, in-game tournaments, out-of-game tournaments, viewer events, whatever it might have been, they couldn't do it. They could not replicate it. They probably know that as well. And so releasing new heroes at the pace that they are is going to get a lot of attention and always bring people back. And also on top of that, they're fighting with every other free-to-play market on a game on the market. The number one being Overwatch, but like they're fighting with Fortnite, they're fighting with Apex, they're fighting for everyone's attention. So I'm very curious of how it's going to look from a year from now. Like, can they keep this pace? Can they keep the polish? Or are things going to eventually, like, are the screws going to start to come loose, you know?
Briefly, what the development cycle and timeline looks like for creating a hero start to finish? Like how you decide abilities and all of that.
这个我可以简单介绍一下，就是我们首
First, we
先
decide
我
on
们
the
会
hero
先决
roster.
定 hero roster， 就是我们会根据我们
This starts with looking at
那
the
我们会
season's
有一个
shit. This starts with looking at the season
赛
we're
季
planning.
那我们会有一个
We'll have
关于我们
discussions
赛季
about the
故事的
season
一个讨
story,
论，就这个赛
like
季
which location it
我
will
们想
focus
聚
on,
焦于哪个地点，然后哪些英雄之
and
间
what
的
kind
一
of
个
story
故事。
will unfold between
那
certain
在这
heroes
样一
within
个
that
故事下，我
storyline.
们什么样的英
We
雄
figure out which
适合
heroes would be a good fit to
出现
appear.
在这么一个故事中，那我们会和漫
Then we
威
have
的
in-depth
团队
discussions
进
with the
行一个
Marvel
非常
team.
充分的一个讨论。那之后呢，我们
And
才
only
会
after
去决定
that
我们
do
的
we
一个
finalize the
英
hero's
雄的
roster.
hero roster。
Or once
那
that's
决定好
decided,
roster 以后呢，那我们就会进行
we
英
move
雄
on
的
to
一
the
个设计。
designing of the
那我们
heroes
内部
themselves.
的
Our
策划
design
团
team
队
will
就会
first
对
study
英
the
雄
hero in
就
depth,
先去包括了解英雄，包括去了解
learning
英
all
雄
the
的各
different
种各样
aspects
的一
of
个
their
设定，
background
然后
and
再
traits.
基于这
Based
个
on that,
去
we create fun and engaging ability combinations.
设计一个
So when they say the Marvel team, does that mean like Disney? Like the Disney Marvel team?
非常好玩的。
Like every time they want to add a character to the game, do they have to go to Disney and be like, who should we add next? Or who can we add
一
next?
个
Because that
技能
sounds
组合
crazy.
那之后的话，我们才会去
We make a
对这个
prototype to
技能
test
组
those
合进行
abilities.
一个 prototype 的一个验证。那验证
The
完
overall gameplay feels both
以后，当这
feasible
个
and
玩
fun.
法整体是可行的，而且是有趣的，我们才会去进
We
行
start
一个
producing the
美术
art
资产
assets
的
for
一
the
个制
hero.
作。那制作好了以后，
This
我们
stage takes quite
这
a
周
while.
这会持续一个周期啊，大概的美术资产
It
制
usually
作的
takes
持续时
a
间
long
会比较
time to
长。
produce
那
the
等美术资
produce
产
the art asset. But
制
once
作
they're
完成以后，
completed,
我们会把整体
we'll
的
integrate all the
技能
abilities
在
into
这
those
个资产上
assets
去整体
and
的
fine
进行
tune
一个打
everything to
磨。
make sure that
对，然
all
后最
feels
后才
right.
去
Then
面
we'd
向玩家。
release.
那
Before release, we do extensive internal balance testing, both within our design team and with top-level players inside the company. Also, speaking of top-level players inside the company, yeah, did you guys see the devs kind of get rocked by the streamer team? Poor BP is definitely gonna get rolled. We make sure that the hero is balanced and still fun to play. Only when all of that checks out, once the hero is both fun and well balanced, we'll finally release it to the broader player base.
What goes into the process of choosing?
Yeah, if you didn't see if you didn't see the streamer team, yeah, the streamers were trolling too. Not all, some of them were trolling. Necros was definitely not trolling. That guy was tryharding. He was clip farming. But yeah, they definitely I think they got a little bit of a check cuz like the devs are actually really good. Like when I played against them forever ago, but I bet they're still really good in terms of like the ladder for like China and stuff like that and still playing. But these degenerates, streamers, pro players that have been playing nonstop since the game came out 6 months ago. Like they had a huge head start on everyone, right? But now that they've had so much time to learn all these characters and like learn all these combos and learn all these things, they're probably like the gap is definitely probably gone from like devs were crazy good to like now it's like flipped where they're kind of like falling behind like the top level players, which happens in every game, by the way. On average, like the top level players for every game are like way better than the developers, and it's not close. But like a really okay, so like that's not always true at the beginning of the game. Like for example, in 2015, like when Overwatch was coming out, or 2016, like the beta, like remember there was technically a time called Only Watch, right? There was a dev team of like Overwatch developers at the time who were nasty. They were beating like all the best TF2 teams that had came over to play Overwatch. They were like shitting on everyone. And then after about a few months of Overwatch being out, like they fell to the wayside. They were no longer like competition. And then like obviously then you never saw any of that ever again. So I think we've already hit that timeline.
What heroes are coming next and how the seasons progress?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, our choice of heroes is mostly based on the upcoming season we're planning. First we think about what kind of season story we want to bring to players. Based on the season story, it's chosen location and the heroes that fit naturally into this narrative, including both existing heroes and new ones. Then we consider the roles of each hero carefully. We also consulted extensively with Marvel, discussing well-known heroes as well as lesser-known characters. All these factors come together to finalize the hero roster.
Will we ever see more typical villains added as playable characters in the game?
Stay tuned. Definitely, there will be more in the future.
Many more duelists in the game than vanguards and strategists. Are there any plans for those to even out?
Well, we've actually seen a lot of feedback about this from the community. Going forward, we will address it. We are aware of the issue. However, the whole process from confirming a hero roster to production and final release takes quite a long time. Oh my goodness. Oh shit. So from what he just said, so I'm gonna let him finish the answer, but like before, I just want to finish my thought really fast. You know what just happened by this answer already. They said that they plan way in advance because they have to talk to Marvel, right? They have to talk to Marvel. And then once they talk to Marvel, they plan the heroes based on the seasons to tell the story. So the seasons in the story they've already planned this out for months, probably years in advance, right? Like, you know, for example, this season was like the Phoenix season, right? Like the Phoenix egg, and right? So they have all of that planned out already. The heroes that are going with that are planned out as well. So they can't just like flip the script and go, well, like, all right, let's put some tanks and supports a little bit sooner so people can get those and like get ahead of the curve. They already have it all planned out. So unless they've already pre-planned to do more Vanguard / strategist supports, right? They can't change it. They can't swap it. So if they have a bunch more duelists coming, DPS that are coming, they can't stop the brakes. You know what I mean? Like the train's already rolling. So maybe they can switch season, but it wouldn't make sense because the art and the story for all of those is probably like, now they're on hyper accelerated loop, right? So like they're making it 12 a season or 12 a year, right? Or 12 heroes a year, which means that 2 heroes are coming out each season, and the 2 heroes that come out each season have to align with the story that's being told each season. So the story being told each season also aligns with the battle pass, also aligns with the in-game story, right? And I'm sure the story has like some progression, right? Like they have like something going after another. They can't just like flip them around. Does that make sense? So, oh man, unless they already pre-planned it, they might have to just go, sorry, like we'll try to do it next year, but like we already have everything planned for the next year. That's crazy. Okay, let's keep going. For example, at this point, the heroes we are currently deciding on are for a release slot next year. So under these circumstances, we are paying attention. We are paying attention to the problem and gradually working to solve it. It won't happen overnight, but over time, a new balance will form.
Seasons revolve.
So I hadn't let him finish the answer, and I told you, I knew that was going to be the answer. So that's what it is. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Around storylines right now and locations, places like Clintar and Null, and maybe even we now have the 8th city being teased. Are there any locations the team has been excited to learn about and possibly explore?
有非常多，因为漫威的
Dude, that was so fast. Holy shit. There are actually many, because the Marvel Universe is incredibly vast. It has many locations that we are very eager to bring players to experience. In the future, we will also introduce these locations into Marvel Rivals.
Gameplay-wise, people often talk about EOMM engagement
matchmaking.
matchmaking.
No way.
In Marvel Rivals, is that system in use, and if so, why? What was the choice of that over skill-based matchmaking, SBMM?
Matchmaking
is
a complex system, and we are preparing a video to talk about.
Wait, he switched to English. Oh, they know this is gonna get clipped. Oh my god.
All matchmaking things.
Hang on, I'm backing this up. Sorry, I've been reading all of these out loud because they've been not in English, but like they flipped over to English, so they know this is gonna be clipped. Okay, I'll let him speak.
Matchmaking is a complex system, and we are preparing a video to talk about all the matchmaking things. So stay tuned. Maybe in 2 weeks. Yeah.
How do you balance the...
Okay, so in 2 weeks from now, there'll be a video about matchmaking. I don't know if they'll talk about EOMM, but that's very interesting that they flipped to English for that specific slot, meaning they know it's going to get clipped. I mean, I watch this. I'm sure Crap's going to clip this. It's going to end up on TikTok or Instagram or somewhere else. So it's very interesting. God, they're very smart. They're actually extremely intelligent. It actually kind of scares me a little how intelligent they are with like how they know not only about the game and the development of the game, but how people perceive the game and how they're perceived online. That's very interesting because a lot of times, like a lot of companies are so out of touch. They're so out of touch, but they're not. Whew. Okay, let's keep going.
Game between casual and competitive players.
See, now we're back to Mandarin, right? It is Mandarin, right? It's Mandarin. I believe it's Mandarin. Back to talking about balance. Okay.
Balance the game between casual and competitive players.
Well, maybe let me introduce our approach to balance adjustments. When we work on balancing, we don't just focus on casual players, nor do we only focus on competitive players. We take a holistic look at the entire game environment across different modes, including quick play, competitive play, and tournaments. We pay close attention to each hero's pick rate, win rate, and ban rate.
出场率、胜率，然后以及本选的一个 奔选率，对，那我们会整体的。
Yes, we comprehensively analyze these data points. Our design team has also many skilled colleagues. We constantly experience the game environment ourselves. By combining all this information, we make adjustments to the game balance. So basically, they balance the game off of a combination of quick play, competitive, and tournaments, while also including ban rates and also their own high-tier players that play the game internally. So this is a perfect combination of it's not only using data from quick play, competitive, and tournaments, but it's also the art form where they're also using, you know, like the human touch, right? Like, because like sometimes certain characters end up getting picked a lot or not picked a lot because they're not perceived as strong, or they are perceived as strong depending on where they are, or if it's only a very small amount of players that are playing a certain hero. Penny's a good example of an outlier, right? That's very, very strong, like bronze to like diamond. But then once you get past that, there's like a very small amount of players that are actually very skilled with Penny that can make it work. But like everyone else would just throw games if they locked it. So like you have to have a little bit of human touch in there. Otherwise, you look at the win rate and go, yeah, we had to nerf that character into the ground, which it didn't need, right? All right, let's keep going.
References to pop culture, like Squirrel Girls, Beach
Let me
Skin.
back up this question, sorry.
In-game, we have slight references to pop culture, like Squirrel Girls, Beach Skin, that people pointed out looks like Sabrina Carpenter, or upcoming Human Torch skin that people think looks like Doflamingo from One Piece. How do you guys decide how to intertwine pop culture into the game?
因为我们的
Because our costumes design
就我们的 costume 这边的一个设计，我们会来源于
draws from many
很多的主
themes,
题，包括漫画
including
经典的主题
classic comic
包括现
themes,
实生活
as
中
well as
的一个
interesting themes from
有
real
趣的一
life,
些主题，那也包括
and also
包括和
collaborations with
影视的一
film
些
and
联动
TV.
那基于这些呢，
Based
我
on
们就
these,
会
we
去
create
创作
costumes
出
that
大
players
家
enjoy.
喜欢的一些 costume。
There's also a number
So wait, does that mean potentially collabs in the future?
costume。
There's also a number of social media moments that have now been added to the game, like the new Blade and Jeff spray, or Venom dancing, Spider-Man 3's Maguire dance. When did you guys decide that you wanted to do things like this, and why?
因为我
Well,
们其实
we mainly saw a lot of
看到
feedback
了
from the community.
这边的一些反馈，包括我们
For
当时在
example,
做
when we were
主页的
making
那个
Venom, the Venom
tweak
twerk,
的时候 Venom tweak 的时候，我们发现
we noticed that our
我们的
entire
整个
social
社交
media team
我们的
actually
社媒
exploded.
引爆了，然后包括我们 community
They all died. They all exploded. The community really loves those
这些东
moments.
西，那我们就会发现
We
说
realized
去
that
倾听
listening
并
to and responding to the
且去对
community
我们社区做出反馈，其实是非常
is actually a very
好的
good
一件事
thing.
情，也会得到
We all,
玩
which
家的
also
一个
earns
认可
recognition and
然后也
love
会
from
得到
many
玩家
players.
的喜欢，所以我们就
So
是
based on our
基于
current
我们
design
目
and
前的
production
一个
capacity,
设计和制作的一个产能，那我们也会
we
尽
try
量
our
地
best
去
to respond to
响应
players'
社
requests
社
in
区
the
中的一些
community,
玩家的一个呼声，把大家喜欢的
bringing in things they
无
like,
论是一些
whether it's
表情
emotes,
动作啊
gestures,
还是
or
一些那
sprays,
个一些表情，然后这些去带到
and
游戏
adding them
然
into
后
the
让大
game,
家这
making everyone enjoy
就是更喜
playing
欢我们
even
游戏
more.
A number of skins
They have such good answers. Their answers are actually so like spot on, and they're right. They're correct answers. They're all like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it, okay? If Guang's primary language was English, I think he'd be Jeff Kaplan 2.0 in terms of like people going crazy for like how he listens and like people really love him and all this other stuff. But like because sometimes there's the language barrier, it's harder for people to connect as much and not to like give him as much credit as they should, because like holy shit, all of these answers have been top tier from the literally day one, and how hard they've worked on their English from the beginning to like from like the first Marvel Rivals update like last year when they were in beta to now is insane how much better it is. And two, like these are all the correct answers. Like games should strive to listen to the community more and to do all that kind of stuff, right? It's actually one of the things that in Overwatch was one of the last things that like we really got to hammer home was doing that more, and they've started doing that, which is a good thing for them. But other games like that have not, like they've fallen behind. They don't do it as much. Like I'm not a big part of that community, but just from online sentiment, I see like people complain about like Destiny never listens to feedback, or like Apex struggles with feedback sometimes. And, like a lot of these games, like they listen, but they only half listen. And I've seen where games like they try to implement community things, but they don't do it all the way. They only half it do it because they think they know better. And then when they only do half it, it turns out wrong. And then both sides look stupid, right? That side that didn't get listened to feels like they didn't get listened to. And the devs go, well, it didn't work. We listened, right? I like the way they've gone about it already with Rivals. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very impressed with their answers. 100% Apex only half listens. Well, I remember it was like season 12 or something of Apex. It was when I still played a decent amount of Apex, where they tried to make ranked mirror pro play, and they made it so like you lose a ton of points if you just drop and die and don't do anything. But you would get a bunch of points if like you stayed alive till really, really late. But they didn't implement it proper. Like it wasn't like all the way. It was only like half of the pro play points, right? Like it was like kills mattered, but like not that much. Or I forget what it was. To be honest with you, it was a long time ago. And so a lot of the pros were like, hey, like you're very close, but you got to do this too. And because they didn't end up committing all the way, it like pissed everyone off, because all the casuals were really mad at it, but also all the pro players and really high ranked players were pissed at it because it didn't actually work the way it did. And then they ended up doing like a full reset where they just like went back to the old system, but like in their own convoluted way. And it just got worse for everyone. And it was just like, everyone was like, oh, well, this sucks, That's the only thing I can think of, at least from that game. But yeah, okay, let's keep going. Sorry.
A number of skins have also returned to the shop, despite many considering them rare or exclusive, like Galactic Hawkeye or Captain America returning, or even the first season's Battle Pass coming back.
My Cap
now
skin.
Only Cyan Venom and the White Scarlet Witch are those exclusive rare skins. What's your take on having rare skins in the game? Why did you bring certain things back?
It's an interesting one. Regarding Cyan Venom and Scarlet Witch, those two are a commitment to the players from the closed alpha test and closed beta test. They are exclusive skins for those who participated in those tests. These two skins will definitely not return to the shop. However, as we mentioned earlier, some limited time sales skins, including our Battle Pass skins, and also limited time skins from the first season, will come back at appropriate times, but the timing and frequency of these returns will definitely have certain limits. And the frequency of their return will also be restricted. I think that's the perfect answer. Again, perfect answer again. Because those two were not paywalled. They were commitment to playing the game early, right? Like the alpha skin was hard to get. You had to finish the battle pass in the alpha. I didn't do it. I didn't get all the way through it. I did get the Venom beta one because I was like, damn, I kind of wish I got the alpha one for Witch. But it's a commitment to the players who tried all that time, right? They should get to keep it. It shouldn't get to open to everyone else. They weren't there. They didn't put their time in early and give the valuable data and feedback that the game needed to be in a good state for launch. Every other skin that's paid skins, yeah, I don't making everything exclusive is kind of annoying. But there are some very, very small exceptions. Alpha/beta wasn't open though, but you could get into it. You could get into it pretty easily. You just had to apply. It wasn't as easy as just downloading the game, but you could apply to get into it. It wasn't very difficult. You had to be locked in though. You had to be wanting to be a part of the game. And that's just how it happens. There was a ton of keys getting in. There was a lot of keys too. I would say there was that Twitch event, but that Twitch event was pretty bad. I don't know if you guys remember that key event for Rivals. That shit was ass. That shit was hot garbage. It got yoinked by bots instantly. The event basically was you have to watch 4 hours of a streamer or whatever to unlock it. And then right at 12:01 or whatever it was, literally 1 minute into it unlocking, all the keys were gone. Instantly. Instantly. I was like, hello? So yes, I know what you mean, but it wasn't impossible to get into those betas and alphas. But again, though, sometimes that's just life. You know what I mean? You weren't part of the alpha and the beta, and I know you couldn't get into it. Maybe you didn't want to be in it, but you weren't. And the players that were, who committed to playing 20, 30 hours through those alphas and betas, grinded their way through to earn it, they should get to keep it, it's not like it's a crazy skin. Like it's literally blue Venom, you know, and then like that's pretty much it. So anyways, let's continue.
Skins, we have to ask, because of social media, how do you guys respond to people calling Marvel Rivals a Gooner game?
Because our design, as mentioned earlier, is inspired by classic comic themes, including some very outstanding skins like Mantis and also Psylocke's Vengeance. These all come from classic comic designs. We take those classic comic designs and create more fashionable designs, based on them to gain players' appreciation. I think this also reflects the broad recognition from our players, as mentioned earlier with Squirrel Girl and the Krakoa Resort skin. These are actually designs based on real-world story theme. Oh my god, okay, the captions are kind of pissing me off. That other one was on there for like an hour, and that one was there for 2 seconds. Based on real-world themes and the season's storyline. For designs like these, we try our best to integrate the storylines from the season, including elements from Krakoa, also blend some popular elements from real life. We create new designs based on that. And I'm very grateful these designs have been well received by the majority of players. I think that might have been a language gap, because that didn't.
And then finally,
that didn't totally make sense. That might have been a language gap right there, because like, you know, like you're asking them to understand the like pop culture. You know what I mean? No, of like, what is a Gooner? You know what I mean? Like Gooner game, Gooner skins. Because I think he talked about Mantis, Squirrel Girl, and I don't think those ones were thought about it. Like it was like mostly like Invis, right? Emma, right? Stuff like that. So I think that might have been a language gapper right there. And to be honest with you, I was curious of what their response was gonna be, but it's not really like that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal.
What does Marvel Rivals look like in 5 and 10 years from now?
We hope our game will be loved by a wide range of Marvel fans, as well as hero shooter players, and that it will gain their recognition. I also hope that together we can make Marvel Rivals a truly massive game. I think they've definitely done that. I think it's definitely a massive game. That being said, it's interesting what they said about the end. Not just Marvel, but also hero shooter players. So that was a really good interview, actually. I'm actually sad that this was hidden from me for the last 5 hours. Hopefully this ends up getting more attention, because that's sick that they got this interview. Really good interview. I want to say though, Rivals is kind of healing a little bit of my pessimism, which is kind of nice. Because a lot of times I get really spooked when companies do check pin comment. Okay, hang on really quick. To clarify EOMM, they'll be releasing a video that will explain how matchmaking actually works in the game, as it's not EOMM and answering questions from the community. Oh, interesting. Okay, we'll wait for that in 2 weeks. What I was saying though, is it's healed a little bit of my pessimism, because when a company makes a big commitment to something like 12 heroes a year, right? Hosting giant esports tournaments, so much content that's trying to push out, right? Like something has to give. And so far, nothing has given, right? Like, yeah, there's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a lot of like whining little complaining bitches on like TikTok and Reddit and Twitter and stuff like that. Like balance is bad, EOMM, right? EOMM is funny. I meme it like 95% of the time. I don't know if that's actually in there, but I also used to meme 50-50 Overwatch. So like there's a lot of people that probably see me memeing EOMM and go, oh my god, he's talking about serious EOMM. And I'm like, well, hang on. When I'm talking about the EOMM demons, it's because my teammates suck balls. Like, but like I could hop in another game and my teammate sucks balls. I'm gonna just like, I'll come up with something else to call him. You know what I mean? Granted, I'm not saying it's there. I'm not saying it isn't. I actually don't know. And honestly, I don't really care to know, because I feel like a lot of it's just like almost like voodoo magic, like half the time, you know. And the same thing happened when I used to play Overwatch years ago. There was a whole conspiracy around 50-50 Overwatch. You should look into it yourself if you're really curious. And it really taught me a lot, because I remember back then buying into it and being like, oh my God, it really is real. It's 50-50, force 50-50, force 50-50. But then after a while, you realize it's just a meme, and that's just how matchmaking is, right? Like, if you're in the correct rank, you're going to win and lose about the same amount of games because you're in the correct rank. But if you go play in bronze, I guarantee you'll get back to whatever rank you're supposed to be in eventually. But if you play enough games, because that's how matchmaking works, right? But I will say it's been nice watching all my fears not come true. Not all of them, sorry. Some of the fears of like them switching to the format of a hero every month. Everything seems to be still going pretty well so far. Chrono Shields, yeah, I think Chrono Shields are still stupid as don't get me wrong. But, you know, every time I see one of these, I get a little more faith, and I'm like, you know, they kind of know what they're doing. It's kind of nice.